Yeah, so what we've got in front of us is a whisky from the Glenrothes distillery, another Speyside whisky. What we've got is, it's a 1995 vintage, bottled in 2016, bottled at 43%. I know over the years Glenrothes, they've done a lot of different vintages, so you'll see potentially 4 or 5 different with the 1995, all with different bottling years. So the one we've got today, as I said, 2016, hovering around the 21-year mark.
It's made by Edrington, Highland Distilleries as it was, but the brand was, until quite recently, owned by Berry Brothers and Rudd, the great wine merchants in London. And they went for bottling by vintage, so-called, rather than just giving a name and a date.
Yeah.
They've got a great colour. They favoured, traditionally, the traditional bottlings of Glenrothes favoured so-called sherrywood maturation. We don't know whether it's American oak or European oak, but we'll maybe find out. But pour away, and I'll tell you an extraordinary story about Glenrothes distillery. The distillery, which is in the village of Rothes on Speyside, and it faces a steep rising graveyard, very old graveyard, so there are some very, very old graves there. But after they'd done this expansion, and this still house was dramatically expanded, overlooking the graveyard, the boys on night shift, this was in the late 80s, and the boys on night shift began to see a figure in the corner of the still house. And they weren't perturbed because they knew exactly who it was. But the trouble, he'd been dead for about 25 years. And they knew who it was because he was a black man, and he was called Byway Macalanga. And he was found in Africa by Major Grant of Glengrant Distillery, which is next door, as a waif. You know, there'd been some tribal war in Macalanga province, which I think is Matabele land, and there were these two little tiny children, and they found the family of one of them, but not of the other. And so the major, as you did in those days, he sort of put him in his luggage and brought him home and looked after him. And he was called Byway because he was found by the wayside, and Macalanga because it was Macalanga province. And he became the sort of valet to the major, and became what's known in the north of Scotland as a worthy, a really highly respected individual. And when the major died in, I think, 1936, he left strict instructions that Byway should always have his room in Rothes houses. And so they knew that they knew who this phantom was. But what was he doing here? Why was he appearing in the still house? Let's pour away and drink.
Okay.
The Glenmorangie, for example, they put out that there was a white lady that used to appear on the malting floors when they were doing their own malting, and that was to keep the young folk on their toes, kept them awake, that they might encounter the white lady. Anyway,
Let's try not to get too spooked as we nose into this whiskey.
That's very nice. It's 43, so it's mild on the nose. Again, it's got a fruity complex. In this case, I would say dried fruits, possibly dates.
Yeah, sorry, I know you about the fruitiness. There's like a savouriness to it as well.
Yep.
I think that it's.
Yep.
I know nuts don't really smell, but there's I'm anticipating a nuttiness on the palate just from the nose.
I wouldn't be surprised, actually. It's very faint. The fruity note is very faint, but it's dry overall. Okay.
Fine for a whiskey that's spent approximately 21 years in the cask. That's still remarkably light, isn't it? It's almost just brushes over your tongue as you're drinking it.
But it's relatively low strength, 43. So it's a good strength, but it's easy drinking strength. I'm getting toffee caramel in the aftertaste, but it's not as sweet as I might have expected a Speyside to be. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I am getting the nuts now, and I'm also getting a little light toffee, which again leads me to believe that it's probably American oak, even though it's quite dark.
Yeah, I know even about, you said toffee, I'm getting like a sort of syrupiness. It's not got the texture that you'd endorse of a syrupy whiskey. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind recommending that to someone who's looking to try whiskey. It's one for perhaps someone to get into it.
Yeah, a very nice example.
So would you like to try that with a bit of water? I know you said it was low strength.
Yes, why don't we do that?
Yeah.
And it becomes even more nutty.
Yeah, definitely.
Dry, nose drying in its effect. But
yeah, I'm not getting as much fruit this time.
No, but I am getting that there's a background of sort of toffee tablet, sort of hard toffee.
Yeah, definitely toffee on the palate with water as well.
Sweetens it up. Excellent, very good. And I love the bottle, and then the smaller bottles which look like grenades, like petard.
Yeah.
They would make very good Molotov cocktails.
Oh, great.
Good, well, thank you very much. That's great.